Hi there, Rita West with the Ramblings of a Redheaded Stepchild. And, well, first of all, I know that it's kind of douchey people think it's kind of douchey to do videos while you're driving, but I was at a powerlifting meet, and I still got another 2 hours to drive, so this just fits in my time. Anyway, I am here to address Jamie Pinder's video that she put out. I believe she put it out yesterday, the day before, I don't know, just recently went out, about her opinions and observations of the current state of women's bodybuilding, and talking about women's bodybuilding as a division. She does talk about, she talks about bodybuilding as it encompasses all the divisions, but her statements were kind of pointed against women's bodybuilding. And it is her opinion or belief that that maybe women's bodybuilding should never have been brought back once it was taken out of, like, the Olympia and the Arnold, and that it should never have been allowed to return, and talking about the reasons why it had been pushed out in the first place, with women getting bigger than seemed to be aesthetically appropriate, or about how the marketing for it wasn't there. People didn't want to buy tickets to go see women that big, and you know what, I could pull that. I'll pull that video apart line by line. I'm not trying. When I say what she said in here, I'm trying not to paraphrase. I'm trying not to put my own little spin on it using my own words. I'm trying to remember actual words that she used, okay? So, she said that, sorry, I had to pause a second. People are driving like assholes. Okay. So Jamie talks about how, the women in bodybuilding these days, she says they are using way too many drugs, all of them. They're all using way too many drugs, androgens. And they are, their features are becoming too manly, and this isn't what you want young women coming into the sport to aspire to. That isn't what you want to say, hey, this is now the new level that you need to get to if you want to compete in this division. And she talks about receding hairlines, and she talks about man face, and just more masculine body structures and musculature, and possibly not being able to have kids later in life, and when you're done. And what about when you're done with bodybuilding and you want to find a partner, and just you want to go on with life, and that you don't want to do that to these young women. First of all, I don't even know how true some of those claims are. I can tell you right now, all bodybuilding women are not taking way too many drugs. And if they're out there, the ones that have coaches letting them do way too many drugs, I would like to know who that coach is, because my coach doesn't let me do a quarter of what I was doing as a power lifter. And when I thought he was babying me, I went to a high-level bodybuilding woman, and she was shocked at how much he was letting me have. So she certainly isn't taking way too many drugs. And the fact that, first of all, they're taking drugs in every division. That's, especially at the pro level. They just are. And in any sport, female or male, you take the rules that you're allowed to operate within, and the boundaries are going to get pushed, because, that's the way that you keep moving forward. I mean, there are limits to things, and then how do you get past that limit? You got to push things. And so if you are going to unless you plan to tell women exactly how much they are and are not allowed to take, or just how manly they are or are not allowed to look, this point is absolutely ridiculous to begin with, okay? Because it has nothing to do with, all of the divisions are getting too big. Physique is starting to look like what bodybuilding used to look like. Figure is starting to look like physique. They're all getting bigger. And that's because it doesn't matter what it is. People are going to push the boundaries, and things are going to continue to advance and evolve. That's just the way it is. And if you take, I don't understand why this entire video that she did was pointed in a hateful and bashing way towards women's bodybuilding. It wasn't informational. And let me point out too, so she had encouraged people to leave comments, which I did that first. I finished reading, because I stopped listening to the podcast like 3/4 of the way through. I was so angry. I calmed down. I finished listening to it, and I left a very long, but, civil, professional, whatever, comment response to her video underneath the video. And now, and that was before I did any of this. So I just, I'm not just like internet warrior shit, whatever. But the whole thing was like pointed in a bashing and hateful way towards women's bodybuilding, which she talks about, why is there not, more women in bodybuilding right now. She talks about how they aren't as conditioned or as in shape as women's physique. Not to say that they don't work hard. She kept, she interjected that a couple times, but then turned around to say they aren't as in shape as they should be. She compared women bodybuilders to physique, competitors in a recent show, the New York Pro. And first of all, and then she talks about Donna Salib, and first of all, anyone that can talk about Donna Salib like that's an asshole, because Donna Salib is like one of the sweetest people that ever walked the face of the earth. But that really has nothing to do with, the athletic aspect to this. So that aside, the amount of work that Donna has had to do to put on the size that she has put on in the last couple of years is just phenomenal. She has done an inspiring job with her physique. And I can tell you right now, she didn't just decide to sit down and start taking a bunch of drugs. That woman is training her ass off, and she is extremely particular about diet and timing, and she is very dedicated to what she does. And the progress that she has made in the last couple of years has been phenomenal. So to even use her as an example of an out-of-shape bodybuilder is just disgusting. It is. And then to compare people from different divisions is ridiculous. Okay, if you wanted to take two women that were competing in the same division on the same stage, they were competing next to each other, and put them next to one another and say this one is more conditioned than the other one, whatever. But you don't take whoever won in this division is going to be the best out of whatever little group is right there on that stage at that time. Okay, so stop plucking out people from some other group and plopping them in there. Why is this all being directed towards the category of women's bodybuilding rather than turning it back around on the people competing in women's bodybuilding? Okay, instead of saying, well, you shouldn't be expecting women to aspire to looking like a man. Okay, well, how about you instead say, because it's only been very recently that women have been that educated about steroids to begin with. It's only been very recently that women have been stepping forward and being open about what they take and talking to each other and being honest about it. Okay, how about turning around and speaking more to how women should be educated and informed of the decisions that that they're making, so that when they make that choice, they know exactly, what the risks are and the potential side effects. And if they should so choose to take that risk, so be it. Okay? It shouldn't be, well, don't let women do it because they need to conform to what society thinks looks pretty. And what about, how many of the women at the pro level are doing this on their own, by the way? Where, why aren't you considering that maybe their coaches told them to do what they are doing and they're just listening to what they're told? I mean, as far as what they look like once they hit the stage. Why the entire video was just directly pointed at bashing women's bodybuilding. And I don't understand it, because I have always been under the understanding that Jamie Pinder was a person that women looked up to, that she was like honest and open and looking to help people, and I have to believe that was the intention here. But I don't know if you say it shows true colors or that she just wasn't thinking. I don't know, but this entire video was extremely unsupportive. unsupportive to women in general, not just women in bodybuilding, because to turn around and say that women should be, thinking more about what other people think of how they look is just ridiculous. I mean, you could apply that to anything, not just bodybuilding. So that concept is just ridiculous. But, you talk about why aren't there more women in bodybuilding? I don't know. Maybe it's because bodybuilding is hard. Okay? Maybe it's because it takes a long time to get there. I realize, and you know what? I am not in the bodybuilding world like a lot of these other women are, and so who the fuck does Rita West think she is? I understand. But I spent 14 years before I stepped onto a bodybuilding stage building the body I have. So I did put the time in. Okay. So how about maybe there aren't enough women a lot of women in bodybuilding right now because it takes a long time and people just either don't have time for it or they don't want to put the time into it, because that's a fucking thing right now in this generation. There are a lot of people that just want the fastest route possible, and they don't want to have to put any dedication or time into anything. And not just women, but people in general. But how about the fact that there's so many people out there that just get their pro card and then never compete again because that pro card was all they needed to get a ton of personal training clients? Okay, there could be a lot of reasons why there aren't a lot of women in bodybuilding right now. But instead of saying, let's try to figure this out, she just decides, well, you know what, maybe bodybuilding should never have been brought back in the first place because they look like men. But she does say, she addresses that she understands you could say the same thing about men, but if men do it, they just look more manly, so it's not so bad. And if they do it right, they can still have kids when they get older. I mean, she literally said that. I'm not making this up. Okay, so that right there, in my opinion, it doesn't undo it, but that just laughs in the face of a fight that women have been fighting for years, way before they were, as big as everyone's up in an uproar about right now. About, not being able to make the same choices as a man, or about how they looked. And then Jamie says, she even admits that even now when she's not as big as she used to be, got people still, kind of call her dude or whatever was the word she used that wasn't dude. But, and so I just don't understand exactly how you're coming about this. And so if it doesn't matter if you're as big as these monster bodybuilding women when you're on stage, then what does it matter if you are? If they're going to call you a dude, whether you're small or big, what does it matter? Shouldn't the woman be able to decide, this is what I like to look like, and as long as it fits within the rules of the competition, this is what I want to do? Because I'm pretty sure, I understand that it is a thing that they want the bodybuilding women to still look more feminine, but I'm pretty sure that's not in the rules. Pretty sure. I just have a very, very hard time listening to how unsupportive in general that entire video was to women's bodybuilding. So what are the women who are in bodybuilding, what are they supposed to do? Why not be out there finding solutions for how to make this sport fit for the women that built their bodies to compete in it? Instead of just saying get rid of it altogether. There was nothing productive or supportive about this video. And I think that's a shame, because I know that people look up to her, and as much as I might want to, try to say that I believe she meant it in a helpful way, it wasn't helpful. And the fact that that's what people might be looking up to kind of scares me. Not really scares me, it makes me angry. I don't even know, I don't even know what possessed her to say some of the things that she said in that freaking, and then I told her too, and some of her comparisons, they were just so ridiculous, and she would throw out one example out of how many possible examples are there? So you're gonna pick a couple of pictures of women in bodybuilding that maybe don't look as conditioned, and I'm not saying they all do. I have thought the same thing about, why is this person here, they don't look like they're ready today. Okay, I'm not saying that doesn't exist, But to use it as a tool to help bash against women's bodybuilding is ridiculous. And to say that all bodybuilding women are unconditioned, and to say that all physique women are more conditioned is irresponsible, because neither one of those things are going to be true. I know, I was certainly conditioned when I went on stage. Maybe there should be, instead of bashing it, maybe, talk about how, use your podcast to address how you feel that things could be changed in that division to make it better. Because, she expressed her opinion that you should look a certain way on stage, and especially at the pro level, because it's a professional sport, and that she found it to be, I don't think she used the word rude, but she was saying that it was kind of rude or disrespectful to be on stage and not look the way you should, and not look the way that you should. Okay? So why not turn around and use your show to encourage other people? You don't get to step up there and tell them what to do. So why not use your show and your clout or your popularity or whatever the fuck you want to call it to encourage women to do the right thing, to be putting the time into it, to care more about getting more conditioned, about, look, I just glanced, because I've never even seen one of her things before, so I was just glancing, scrolling down through the YouTubes, and she does have a lot of videos about, I forget what, eating when you're on the go, or getting a workout when you're on the go, things like that, so things like that, those are supportive things. This was the most unsupportive thing to women in general, as not even talking about bodybuilding, but, women's bodybuilding. It was directly directed at women's bodybuilding, the most unsupportive thing I have ever freaking heard. And I was appalled. And, I was so mad last night, and I'm glad that I didn't do this, and I'm glad that I, took the time to sit and make myself listen to the rest of it, which the rest of it really, it didn't matter to me, anyway, it didn't really make any difference, but, because I woke up this morning not caring so much, because who gives a fuck what she thinks about women's bodybuilding? It's not going to disappear because Jamie Pinder thinks that women's bodybuilders aren't conditioned enough. She literally said that she makes the joke to her clients, well, if you don't want to work hard enough, you could go do women's bodybuilding and you'll get a qualification. She fucking said that. So, I was thinking to myself when I got up this morning, who the fuck gives a fuck what Jamie Pinder thinks about women's bodybuilding? I don't even know what category she did. I have to assume it wasn't bodybuilding. And I am going to spend a little bit of time to think about how, because there isn't a lot that I do to support it either. I just do my thing. And I do my thing because that's just the way I am, But I am going to put a little bit of time and effort into thinking about what more I can do to encourage women to get into bodybuilding and to do it the right way or whatever, because it's something you gotta kind of convince somebody to put the time into, and I think that's kind of hard, but if I could say that her video helped anything for me, it would be to say that I think that, like I said, I'm going to think about how I can do more to help the division of women's bodybuilding, and to encourage women to participate and compete and to grow up into it. So I would just like to say that anybody, I'm not saying don't go follow Jamie Pinder, whatever. I don't know, she might have other awesome things to say. Don't know. Never heard one of her podcasts before. This, I would say, I'm not going to say to listen to it, but I would say, that this is not a productive reflection of the kind of critique, the conversation that needs to be had on women's bodybuilding and the current state of it. Okay? I don't know what else to say, except don't give up on women's bodybuilding. All right, I'm getting off. If you have any, I'm not literally getting off. I'm just getting off the video thing. If you have any questions, if you want to hear me talk about anything, you can message me. You can leave a message below the video. You can contact me at boss.bitch.x. Yeah, don't worry about Facebook because those ones are easier. So yeah, that's all I got to say for now, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.